This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Roll. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news: Member of Parliament for Marco City, Gregory Moss, has officially resigned as a member of the Progressive Liberal Party. His letter of resignation addressed to Party Chairman Bradley Roberts was issued today. His resignation coming after he criticized the PLP government during the budget debate in the House of Assembly last night.
Tonight, I'm going to resign as a member.
Member of Parliament for Marco City, Gregory Moss, making it clear in the House of Assembly that while he is resigning from the Progressive Liberal Party, he plans to remain a parliamentarian. In his resignation letter issued on Tuesday, Moss says he subscribes to the political philosophy of the late Sir Lyndon Pinling, but says the Progressive Liberal Party is no longer the party of Sir Lyndon or a party of the people. Moss claims the party's philosophical underpinning has been set adrift and is now unrecognizable as being anything other than a party for the elite and the privileged few. Moss says after 3 years of championing and attempting to effect reforms as a member of the PLP, the recent budget communication by the Prime Minister has confirmed to him that those goals are not shared by the leadership of the PLP as a government or as a party. He says he has since repeatedly attempted to advance those goals through the firm opposition to any and every form of political corruption and the consistent call for the enactment of legislation to advance the interests of our people in various areas. Hence, he says he can no longer continue as a member of the Progressive Liberal Party. But Moss says he is determined to serve the people in the restoration of the vision and the fulfillment of the dream of a better and more equitable Bahamas. The chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party, Bradley Roberts, is giving his take on the Marco City MP's resignation from the party. Roberts says, like any organization, the PLP encounters disagreements among its members, and sometimes these differences are reconciled and sometimes members part ways. The PLP chairman says Moss was given the opportunity and privilege for public service, and more so, the Prime Minister recognized his talents and invited Moss to join the cabinet, but Moss wanted to join conditionally and pouted, complained, and preened publicly. Roberts says Moss was publicly insubordinate to the Prime Minister and was relieved of his duties as chairman of NIB. Roberts saying the Marco City MP has squandered much of his political support and capital in the Marco City constituency and stood zero chance of securing a nomination for the upcoming 2017 general election. The PLP chairman contends that Moss has squandered a golden opportunity for public service. And we have reaction to the resignation of Marco City MP from the governing Progressive Liberal Party. Our Joan Davis-Roll has that story.
Reaction coming in about the announced resignation of the MP for Marco City, Gregory Moss. As you can well imagine, for those who live in this area and those who don't, their reaction is mixed. He is resigning not as a member of Parliament for Marco City, but as a member of the governing Progressive Liberal Party. Now residents are weighing in on this political bombshell.
I'm a Marco City. I voted for him in the last election, but he's not a good MP for that area. I haven't seen him since the election, I think they should have got rid of him a long time ago.
He's in the party, and he knows a lot of stuff that is going on, and he has a reason why he made his resignation.
I'm looking for good representation. Understand what I'm saying? I want somebody who represent us. We in Marco City ain't had no representation there for a long time, from Pleasant Bridgewater.
So you voted for, did you vote for him?
Yes, I campaigned for him. What he went against PLP policy. So that's it.
Gregory Moss has been vacant, right, as a leader in this community. And I don't know if that's because of you heard stories about him standing down because somebody else got the job he's supposed to get and all them type of stuff. But I believe in that. In spite of that, he was elected by the people to represent the people. Gregory Moss, representative of this area, should stand up for the people.
Knowing Mr. Moss in the area that I live in, he was always vocal on issues and on debates where when conflict come up, if it don't sit the area he represents, or if it don't sit with him being a Bahamian, he stand up against it. So with him taking that stand, he know exactly why the system he's in is not operating the way he want to go.
He should have been gone.
Why?
He should have fired him a long time because they ain't got no respect for him. Who ain't with him, just let him go. Because it's a lot of intelligent guys who ready to join the party. So he just need to do what he got to do and get rid of them.
Joan Davis-Roll, ZNS Network News.
In other news, Minister for Grand Bahama, Dr. Michael Darville, delivering some good news regarding the fishing hole road. Minister Darville, during his budget contribution in Parliament last night, noting that a decision has been made and the tendering process should begin soon.
The most recent coastal engineering and geotechnical report at the proposed site proves to be in favor of an elevated causeway rather than a bridge. Mr. Speaker, my ministry, the Ministry of Works and Urban Development, are working closely to finalize the engineering requirements prior to the tender process, which will begin on the 15th of June this month.
Dr. Darville provided drawings of the new proposed causeway to be constructed.
It's going to be a state-of-the-art piece of engineering, and it will play an intricate role for the connection of West Grand Bahama to Freeport.
At last.
This particular drawing here also shows a side view of the proposed fishing hole road, and it shows the culverts that will be there to allow the free flow of water coming from the north side into the Hawksbill Creek. And likewise, this is another drawing, conceptual drawing for the fishing hole road. So I'm very pleased that with the hard work from the Ministry of Works and Urban Development.
The leader of the Democratic National Alliance on Grand Bahama to give support to mechanics and auto repair workers who are protesting the government's plan to ban wrecked vehicles and vehicles more than 10 years old. The DNA leader says such a move could have far-reaching effects. Megan Shepard has this report.
We are here because we don't want to see you losing your jobs. We are here because at the end of the day, for many of you, it's the only job you got. And it's the only job you've been doing for all your life.
Leader of the Democratic National Alliance, Branville McCartney, on Grand Bahama Tuesday morning to support the plight of young Bahamians impacted by the announcement of a ban on the importation of wrecked vehicles. While the government says environmental concerns is the reason for the policy change, McCartney says he believes there are more pressing issues to be addressed regarding the environment.
We don't see where the government has taken such great concern about the environment in recent years. And in connection with the environment, there are so many other issues that they could have taken into account prior to even dealing with the so-called damaged vehicle issue.
McCartney says this new policy is being done without foresight, forethought, or consultation with those whom it will affect. He adds that it will not only affect those in the auto industry, but will create a trickling effect.
We're not only talking on their direct behalf, but we're talking on behalf of their spouses. We're talking on behalf of their children who cannot talk to the camera like I'm talking to the camera. This government is taking bread out of their mouths.
McCartney calls it rather curious, noting that if these jobs are taken away, what is the alternative?
So if they talk about bringing in or not bringing in wrecked vehicles, they ought to say, look, this is a standard of vehicles that ought to be brought in. This is what ought to be required. And there are international standards that can be used. If they talk about not bringing in vehicles older than 10 years, well, they should really give some reasons for that, right? And then the reasoning should be regulated.
Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Megan. Well, officials say vehicles with slight damage could be imported, and vehicles not allowed back on the streets in the United States will not be allowed to enter the country. The government has stated that the ban is needed for safety and environmental reasons. Switching gears now, 42-year-old Leon Romeo Ramming of Melbourne Crest, Hudson Estates, appearing before Magistrate Rankin Johnson today and charged with attempted murder and armed robbery. He was not required to enter a plea, and a preliminary inquiry into the charges is slated for August 25th. Ramming was remanded to the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services in New Providence until trial begins. Ramming is accused of attacking a 54-year-old woman near a school campus of Settlers Way over the weekend. The woman was discovered with bruises and stab wounds about the body on Monday morning. She is still detained in hospital in serious condition. Stay with us. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, continues right after this.
Bringing news that matters to you. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Welcome back. A memorial service is set to take place in the nation's capital for Bishop of Guyana and former rector of the Church of the Ascension, Cornell Moss. Moss took up the post in Guyana back in 2009, and tonight his contribution to that country is being highlighted.
Thank you once again, Bishop. May his soul rest in peace.
Archdeacon Terry Davis says during Bishop Cornell Moss's tenure in Guyana, he made a positive impact in that country.
One of the first things he did was to improve the lives or the livelihood of the clergy. Not only increasing the stipend, but our livelihoods generally, which lifted the morale of the clergy in the Diocese of Guyana to such extent that there was a spring in our step.
Another mission was to ensure that the diocese was staffed with local clergymen.
He ensured that we had at least one seminarian each year. And I'd like to add that this year he had planned to send 10 persons. And I was tasked with the search of suitable candidates as director of the Fellowship of Vocation. And I trust that we can fulfill his dream this year of sending 10 persons to Codrington College.
Moss was passionate about giving a facelift to the infrastructure in Guyana.
A program which is still ongoing of restoring our places of worship and other property. And many buildings have been restored, and one of the last things he did before returning to the Bahamas, as you know, for health reasons, was to launch the restoration program of his cathedral, St. George's, and we hope that we can execute and complete that program in honor of Bishop Gerald.
Well, a local school providing for the less fortunate among us. Students of Grace Christian Academy hosted a free clothing fair recently, which was open to the public for anyone in need. Second grade teacher says support from the students was tremendous.
Because the curriculum is about community service, we wanted the children to also feel a part of being community service. So what it is to teach them to learn to give back to persons in the community, you know, and also here at Grace Christian Academy, we want to instill a lot of Christian values into the students.
Now she's encouraging other persons to get more involved in such initiatives.
Good initiative, we feel good, and we encourage other teachers and other parents to encourage their kids to give and let them have a feeling to know what it is to give back, because, you know, children, they so like stuff, but we want them to learn how to give as well and be good givers and be cheerful givers.
And now to our nightly feature, Ask the Doctor.
Hi, and welcome to Ask the Doctor. I'm Dr. Monique Pratt. Christine from Freeport inquired, "My husband has trouble sleeping. What do you recommend he takes to help with this insomnia?" Thanks for your question, Christine, and I'm sure that there are many others who have similar sleeping problems. Insomnia is a sleep disorder where there is difficulty falling asleep and/or staying asleep. Persons suffering from insomnia may also experience tiredness upon wakening, or if they wake up during the night, they have difficulty falling back asleep. Stress, certain medical conditions such as anxiety, depression, or sleep apnea, medications, caffeine, and nicotine can all have a negative effect on sleep. If left untreated, insomnia can pose serious health risks. Studies have shown that people with insomnia are found to miss work more often, have a higher risk of developing depression, and have poorer overall general health. Things you can do to prevent insomnia include having a regular sleep schedule, avoid caffeinated beverages late in the evening, and avoid taking naps late in the evening. If you or your partner are experiencing sleep problems, please discuss your symptoms with a doctor at any of our community clinics. I'm Dr. Monique Pratt, and this has been Ask the Doctor.
Stay with us. Sabrina Brown has a check on sports when we return.
Good evening and welcome to Sports. I'm Sabrina Brown. This one is dedicated to Audley Nautilus, who is still celebrating today. If fishing is your game, then this one is for you. The countdown is on to the West End Snapper Tournament, planned for later this month. The 5th annual West End Snapper Fishing Tournament and Festival is all set for Saturday, June 20th on Bayshore Road. Lines in the water at 7 a.m. and out at 4 p.m. Ministry of Tourism official Elaine Smith and committee member Nakira Wilshcombe say it's going to be a grand affair.
Handline fishermen will be competing for the largest poundage of snapper, largest fish caught, and the most fish by pounds.
We're encouraging our boaters, fishermen who are interested in catching snappers and all types of fish to come on down to West End. It promises to be an exciting event.
Darlene Culmer of the Weekend Committee is throwing out a challenge, especially to West Enders.
If possible, when you see events such as the Snapper Tournament, to come out and lend a helping hand, because we cannot do it alone. So we just want to encourage all persons to come out.
The reigning champs, Old Bahama Bay, is looking to hold on to their title, says Kenneth Christie.
The manager, Mr. James Culmer, and staff, they would like to see the trophy remain at Old Bahama Bay. So that's our plan this year. So we're looking forward to keeping it there. My good friend, Mr. Rosny Cooper, I hope you'll be out there. We're looking forward to seeing you and bring out a lot of your friends.
This year's tournament is in honor of the late James Jimmy Bolag. Hilton Bolag says he's grateful to the committee for keeping his father's legacy alive.
My father was born in Brady Point 8 Mile Rock. He spent most of his years in West End. He have a long line of fishing throughout the Bahamas, mostly West End. He was the first person in West End had a fleet of fishing boats, especially bone fishing.
The Grand Bahama Amateur Baseball Association Senior League weekend play. The Tree Root Sharks defeated the GB Port Authority regulators 11-3. Ashton Pratt was 4 for 4 at the plate. Alonzo Pratt Jr. 2 for 3. The rookies blasted the Premier Plus A's 12-9. Nash Day Mitchell with a 3 for 4 game at the plate. Softball from the weekend in the Abaco Softball Association. The Abaco Grove Street Diamond Dolls defeated the Lady Legends 18-8 in ladies play, with Laura Lee Saunders posting a 3 for 4 game at the plate. Cliffine Smith struck out 9 batters for the win. The loss to Brazila Buck Kelly. In men's play, the Hopetown Wreckers held off the Sluggers 11-8. Tommy Roll with 3 doubles and 6 RBIs. Oscar DeGo Roll struck out 10 batters. The loss to Scott Albury. The A&G Bulldogs topped the Latima Destroyers 7-2. Andrew Leakey Albury was 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs. Lyle Big Boy Sawyer struck out 17 batters. Josh Rolls saddled with the loss. The Simple Solution Sharks with the 8-4 win over the Latima Destroyers. Kyle Johnson 2 for 3 and 4 RBIs at the plate. Thomas Machine Gun Kelly struck out 11 batters. The loss to Freddie Cornish. And that's your sports tonight.